My name is Vida Marie Adams. I was born in LA in 1977 on August the 2nd. I identify as a Korean Blasian. Up until I was 6, I grew up actually in the area that would later become Koreatown. And then my mom decided we need to move to the valley. So we moved to Canoga Park until I was 11. And that was good because they still had Korean things in Canoga Park. I'm an only child. My mom and her family, they're not very close. There's a lot of generational trauma and addiction and racism in that family. I didn't really grow up with a lot of my relatives on that side. I actually have a better relationship with the relatives on my dad's side because I think part of like the Black American experience is accepting mixed people more readily than I think other communities do. So I always even though we weren't even that close because of distance and stuff, I have more familiarity with my dad's side of the family. There was a few years where my grandmother, my 할머니, she lived with us, but she didn't speak English. While I loved my 할머니, that was a nice thing that she couldn't speak English because I just did whatever the heck I wanted. Most of my mom's side of the family, they're not overtly racist, but they'll say like some shady stuff. Like I had this one aunt who wanted me to help her find a place to live in my neighborhood, but she doesn't like Black people, and my neighborhood's Black. So I was like, no, thank you. But my kunimo was the worst. There was like a birthday party for my grandmother. I think it was my 할머니. I think it was the 70th one, and all of my cousins were there. And I didn't go because she didn't want people to know that my mom had a child with a Black man, even though it was okay for her to marry a white person and almost have their child. But my existence as a more melanated person was just not acceptable. And then on top of that, my mom kept that from me until I was well into my adulthood. So I didn't find out about that until after my 할머니 died. And I started thinking, how come I'm not in this picture? Because I always just thought I was in that picture because I was in school. So that was kind of disheartening to know. And it kind of explains why her attitude was always nasty anyway, because she was the first person who started the chain for everybody to come over here. So she thought that everybody owed her because without her, they wouldn't even be here. Deep down inside, I've always been proud of being both, even when not everybody understood that I was. And even if I didn't speak Korean at the time, but at the same time, there are lots of things that I grew up being very proud of. We would get these calendars from businesses every year. You know the calendar thing. I mean, I straight up have a Korean bank savings account just so I could get calendars. That's when I would see our old school culture being represented, the ladies in the hanboks, doing something playing an instrument, and just with, the whole stick in their hair bun thing. But I would be I want to look like that. Because that's what I started thinking I should look like, because I felt that way. Now I look back and I'm I was so starved for that culture that I just sucked it up. Anybody that had high cheekbones, these eyes, a certain face shape, certain kind of hair. I was so starved that I just took whatever I could get.
What's your relationship to Koreatown?
Yesterday, when I was at the Kaji market and I looked across and I saw where I used to live, I thought to myself, I knew I never wanted to stay in Palmdale. I knew I wanted to come back here. Even though I don't live here currently now, but I knew that this was my home. Maybe I was only here for 6 years, but those are the 6 years that I feel I was the happiest. And so yesterday when I was looking back at those apartments, that's what I was kind of thinking to myself, I came back here because this was the best time that I remember having, where I felt closer to all my family. Even the Korean side, but I came back to return to a better time. And that's what and when I think about Koreatown, it doesn't matter how many people talk to me like I'm not Korean. I'm not saying that people are rude to me on the regular, but even if they are, it doesn't matter. Out of every place I've ever been, this is the only place I really feel like I belong, even though like I know people don't look at me like I belong. But I feel like I have the right to have the audacity to feel like I belong here. And like, I knew the entire time I was in the Valley, like, it was okay, but it didn't feel like home. I'll go back and, there's some good memories there, but it's not like I don't have that love for like Canoga Park that I have for Koreatown. Even if it really wasn't really Koreatown like we know it now. I love Koreatown. Like, it's my home. Even if I live in South LA right now, it's still my home. Like, when I come here though, like, it feels so natural. Even if I don't know everywhere to go because things change. But there are some things that are so damn staple. When I first moved here, all the places that I had like such good memories that I returned to, seeing them change or seeing them being demolished, it's kind of sad, But I think if I didn't feel the way, like, shit can change in the Valley, I don't give a fuck. Not that big of a deal. Part of my language. I don't give a crap. I don't care that much. I don't have as much emotion invested. But like with LA though, like if they demolish the building that I grew up in, that I remember so fondly, like, I'm gonna die. I think I was cognizant of the fact that I'm not straight when I was 19. And that's when I started realizing that I had feelings for my same gender. I think it's just important for people to know that, like, in every struggle of, like, for any kind of marginalized people, there'll come a day when it gets better. It might not be perfect. There are lots of marginalized communities that have been struggling for equality for years, but what they're experiencing now is exponentially better than what they experienced before or their ancestors experienced before them. Even if people have the audacity to treat you like you don't belong, you belong. You get to decide if you belong or not. Nobody gets to take that from you. Nobody gets to claim on that or decide that for you. Nobody can tell me that I'm not half Korean. I feel what I feel, and nobody can take that from me. I don't need somebody to validate my identity for me. And I don't need to feel the same way to have that identity valid if I feel that the core of who I am is X. It doesn't matter if I do Y or Z. You have the right to feel real feminine one day, not so feminine the next day, somewhere in between, fluid, however you feel like expressing yourself or you feel about yourself. That's true in that moment. And that moment doesn't have to be exactly the same as the next moment. That you are only confined to the box that you put yourself in. And if other people try to do that for you, you don't have to accept it. Your world is yours and nobody can take that from you. My name is Vida Marie Adams, and this is my Blasian Korean American story.